If you want to make your millions, you've got to study hard, go to a good college and come out with a degree, or at least that's what many people say, but the reality is a little different. In fact, plenty of billionaires have bucked the trend and found fortune without ever finishing university. In fact, Bill Gates was once the world's richest man, and he doesn't have a university degree to his name, you might like to hear. He dropped out of school to concentrate on Microsoft after 2 years at Harvard. 10 years later, he released Windows. The rest, of course, is history. Steve Jobs didn't last as long as 2 years in university. The Apple CEO managed just one semester, in fact, at Reed College in Portland, Oregon, before dropping out in 1972. He took a job developing video games 2 years later, but quit that to go travelling around India instead. They're great stories, aren't they? Virgin boss Richard Branson never even went to university. He wasn't a great student and preferred to sell records from the boot of his car instead. That was the start of Virgin Records. Flash forward now to today, and the company's planning to send people into space. Now, Simon Dolan left school when he was 16. Now he's worth over $100 million. He's written a book titled How to Make Millions Without a Degree. And he joins us now. This is inspiring stuff, isn't it? I don't know why we bother going to college.
No, and that's the whole point of the book. How to Make Millions Without a Degree describes and shows to people that they can go on. If they haven't got a degree, they can start their own business and they can start earning some good money.
So degrees are good for certain professions, aren't they? Obviously, law, medicine, things like that. But what you're saying, in terms of business, you don't need to go to university.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times, you know, as you say, if you're a surgeon or if you're a lawyer, you want those people to go to university. But setting up in business, you don't need an MBA. What you need is a decent idea and some dedication and hard work and the ability to actually go out and sell. And that's where those three people that you've got there are so good.
But surely you learn some tips at business school which would take you years to work out in the real world.
No, I don't think you do. I think you learn a lot of theory at business school, taught by people who, on the whole, haven't ever done anything in terms of business. What they're doing is giving you the theory, but a bit like when you learn to drive a car and you do all of your theory, how many times do you ever refer back to that when you actually start driving a car? You learn pretty quick on a motorway.
Do you think it can work against you going to university and making it all academic when actually it's just a practical process?
Yeah, I think you can. I think what happens is that you get caught up in producing long business plans because you think that that's the way to do it, and in the end you get stifled, and that great idea that you had gets stifled under a whole weight of paperwork because you think that's what you need to do and that's what you've been taught.
You're one of those Richard Branson stories, aren't you? Because you started at the age of 13 or something. Tell us how you started.
Yeah, I started selling scratch cards to my friends at school, and then I went on and worked in a garage. I worked on a cheese and egg stall at the market. I've done all sorts of things. I've sold timeshare, I've sold faxes and photocopiers, done a lot of different things. But all of these things, especially when I was younger, give you great experience, and especially working on the market. You know, great numeracy skills, great customer relations skills, and that all helped.
But we're intimidated, aren't we? The whole idea of setting up a business is intimidating. We do hear about all of the red tape, the bureaucracy involved in the process. But are you saying it's actually easier than it seems?
It's a lot easier than it's portrayed on television, certainly, and a lot easier than a lot of people would think. Take, for example, if you've ever sold anything on eBay, you're a business person.
But we don't think of it as business.
But you don't think of it. You don't think of yourself as an entrepreneur because everybody does that. And that's what I'd really like to encourage, is to get people thinking of themselves, yeah, actually, I can go out, I can start my own business, I can make some money, and hopefully then employ people, and that's what we need.
Is there one thing that you would say that you've learned which would be useful to someone young thinking of doing the same thing? Or old, in fact?
Yeah, anybody, you've got to learn how to sell. And that is the key. If you can't sell anything, you're never going to get a business, regardless of how good your idea is.
That's a natural skill, though, isn't it?
No, that's a learned skill. I was terribly shy as a child and really had no idea at all how to sell, but I had to get out there and learn how to do it. Once you've done it a few times and practice, like anything in life.
And what is the skill?
The skill is having empathy with people.
So working out what they want.
Working out what they want and then giving it to them.
Selling it to them.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the show.
Pleasure.
Now, this Thursday, Quest Means Business is back with a special segment of Q&A, Question Alley. In Q&A, you can choose the topics. We give the answers. Watch Ali Velshi and Richard battle it out. See whose explanation you like the best as we unravel your subject in 1 minute flat. There will